सोचे सोच न होवई, जे सोची लखवार। चुपे चुप न होवई, जे लाई रहा लिवतार। भूखिया भूख न उतरी, जे बन्ना पुरिया पार। सहसियान पलक होई, ताइक न चले नाल। केउ सचियारा होइए, केउ कूड़े तुट्टे पाल। हुक्म रजाई चलना, नानक लिखिया नाल।
Thank you. Om. Namaste. Welcome everyone to Satsang this morning. Good to see you. And it's a little echoey. I don't know if this is your experience at the back. You can hear, okay? Okay. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome also to those who are joining us via broadcasting, live. What do you mean? Broadcasting? Sorry. Welcome, of course. And my feeling is that whether you are watching online or you're physically present here, should not diminish the essence of what is being shared, which is beyond time and space, actually, when it enters the heart. So, thank you. Okay, thank you. I also I'm seeing that there are some letters coming in, few here and there, from people watching online, so I will take a look at those at some point. You over there, you can come.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
So, I wanted to speak about the swinging or the oscillation that you spoke about yesterday. I experienced a really deep experience for like 1 month where I felt that I was here constantly. And as you spoke yesterday, then it felt like it went away. And I felt like so sure of it in that moment. So if I zoom into that moment, the difference between when I felt like I found it and the difference of when I felt like I lost it was that somehow an automatic remembering that I was here always. Because life still kept going on and I still had personal things happening, but it was a very automatic, easy remembering that I was always here. It would never take more than a minute or two to always remember that I was here. And the difference when I felt like I lost it was that it was like the remembering would come way later, somehow.
Yes.
So, yesterday what I really understood was that both of them are seen from a deeper space. So...
Can be, yes.
What do you mean?
I mean that you had an experience where you felt that everything was unfolding very naturally, spontaneously in your presence.
Yes.
You were not actually so actively manipulating life. It was simply an unfolding, and within your own being, you were very happy and
Yes.
calm,
Yes.
and seeing that, in a sense, life is taking care of life.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
But you say then that passed, and that state felt like it passed.
Yes.
And then came a state where it became more personal again.
Yes.
You became more involved. And so in the previous state, where you felt completely in harmony, you spontaneously knew, I'm just always present. In the state that followed, where you felt the mind is back again, you're in the mind state,
Yes.
it took some time to really reflect, actually, but I must still have been here, but my experience is that I'm all pulled into the noise of personhood again, like that, no?
Yes.
And then you said yesterday what you felt you understood, that there must be another place, a more stable place, whereby both polarities of the oscillation are also perceived.
Exactly.
But from this place, it is not oscillating. This place of stillness.
Yes.
Okay. So I go back over what you say. You say, I found that state of tranquility and peace. Why did it go away, and where can it go? I found this place or this state of tranquility and peace. How could it come to feel that it went away? And I said it seemed to go away because the you who found it did not go away. When the seeker finds what he's searching for, the seeking is finished. When the seeker finds the thing that he's searching for, he's no more called seeker.
In that moment, it felt like the seeker was also vanished. In that moment, I felt I cannot imagine this
Something
going away.
must have been there to feel I lost it. Because in the natural state, it does not belong to anybody. You cannot say, I have it. In fact, you are it, more than you have it or that you visited there. If you feel like that, it's because we still retain, naturally, for a time, the sense that our personal identity has reached or found something. So that is not the final state. It means that that personal identity also is not stable. Sometimes it feels very happy about something, and for no reason it feels not happy about it.
And that is also yesterday is what I realized is I was almost too happy about it.
Yes.
And then very sad that I lost it.
The one who is very happy becomes the one who is very sad.
Exactly.
The one who is very happy means that there is a duality there. Please don't be frightened by my saying that. There's a duality there that feels, I got something. You see, no, I got it now. And sometimes people say, look after it. And that's also not a bad thing to say in the beginning. It means honor your seeing, digest your seeing, marinate in your experience, be very present with it, rather than merely joyriding the experience. You think, that's so good, and like this. So the one who really discover, is somehow realize that, but this is, not even the me and this becomes, in a sense, the me is this, or as this, in a sense. But it takes time for that to stabilize, that conviction. In the beginning, it will feel like, I must stay with it, or you feel like, yes, I found it, and then somehow at some later stage, it's gone, or something like that.
And it's also been happening for a year or two, the oscillation. And this time, every time that I find it, seems, it's the wrong word to use, but closer to it. Also, I didn't feel like I have to speak about it or share it with anyone. It was a more internal thing. But what I realized is, yes, I was too happy about it. I was not neutral inside it, somehow.
You were not?
Not neutral inside it.
Not true neutral,
Yes.
Yes.
So, what I wanted to also, maybe my question is, what I've realized is that what I am has nothing to do with memory, right? So, when I'm in it, it feels like the memory of I am is constant. And when I lose it, the memory is not so much there. So if I see both of the states from a deeper place, memory has kind of nothing to do with it, or the remembering.
Right now, do you have to remember that you are?
No.
No.
But
there was a time that you had to remember, maybe as a child, when we were just old enough to begin to remember things or to associate with your body. There was a time when even this body, you did not think it was you. When at an infant stage, maybe you wanted to do something, to hold on something, but you hadn't got used to the body to hold the thing. You didn't feel this body was you.
Yeah.
You did not feel. It was more like you had to learn how to operate this machinery a bit. You did not feel it is you then. Then, with time, you became much more comfortable with it. If you wanted to, somebody say, touch your left eye, you could touch left eye. Touch nose. But previous to that, you could not do it. So with that growing skill of being able to feel at will, you can do things with the body, you can operate the machine, like that, it became easier for the identification with the body to take on a deeper significance, the I am the body. So previous to the coming of the I am the body feeling, you did not feel you are the body. Still you were there. You see? Even thoughts now, you will come to see, I am not those thoughts also. Because most human beings, I would put it to say most, are still deeply entrenched in the belief that I am the body and my conditioning, which exists in my mind. And that is also a mode of consciousness, but it's very contracted, very dense, very limiting. Now, as you begin to be able to observe, I shared before one kind of example that helps many people, that if you can imagine that on the edge of a cliff by the sea, there's a tree. Many of you may have heard this example, but it's worth sharing again. In this tree, on a branch, there is a bird building a nest. You've heard it, no? The bird is building a nest in the tree, feeding its young ones, flying off, bringing worms, whatever, building nests, feeding babies. This bird is going to represent, in this metaphor, represent our life in the world of having a job, raising a family, doing all these things that most human beings right across the planet aspire for or feel that this is what we're meant to do. That's the active one, the dynamic bird, the dynamic life, like that. In the same tree, on a branch just above, sits another bird that looks identical. But this bird is not building anything at all. It quietly looks. And in its view, it can see the first bird activity going on, doing like this. And, but it is not building, it's not flying away. It is very still. It's very still. This bird represents the ability to observe with detachment all the activities, all the dance of the elements, everything which is on this side of the eyes, the world of names and form, of movement, of time, change, like that. It can see all that. It is even aware of the world behind the eyes of feelings and thoughts and everything. I'm going to put it that this second bird is inside the first bird. It's the heart of the first bird. And so within our active life, having job, doing things, sending your emails, making a phone call, doing all these things, there is an ability within you, in your conscious self, whereby you can also simultaneously observe all that is happening, and yet in this place of witnessing, it is not so dynamic. There's just a kind of silence. There's a seeing, a noticing, an experiencing, but it is not a sweaty experience. You see? Can you detect these two positions in your dynamic life?
Yes.
No? Okay. This second bird position, no? If we have moved and can somehow recognize the place within ourselves where we have the capacity to observe the active dynamic life outwardly and inwardly going on, but from a place of stillness, that place of stillness is relatively very still, but observing of the dynamic world is occurring to it. Okay? That is called the shift from person, from the dynamic self-doing, active, from person to presence. When we become aware of the capacity to simply observe, not necessarily like this, but in the stillness, there is a perceiving, which is not really a doing, it is just a perceiving is taking place. When we become aware of that dimension of perceiving, you will notice also that your beingness feels very happy and silent and joyful also, because you are not immediately arrested or pulled into the traffic of the things you observe in life. That is second bird position, let's say now. No? Most beings, when they've come to practice this or to become more aware and they are enjoying it, and they want to be more in the state of observing than doing, they are already feeling blessed, grateful for this change in the way of experiencing their existence. No? And it is a taste of what you may call Satchidananda, meaning that you intuitively know that you exist beyond merely the body. Sat, Chid, that you are conscious also of your existence, you are conscious. And the Anand, meaning you are joyful, happy, blissful. So all the beings, they love this nectar of Satchidananda feeling. No? And I would say, stabilize here, get used to this position, because you'll feel less busy, more empty, more quiet, more spontaneous, more intuitive. It's a very enjoyable state, not like that. But for some beings, at a certain point, they come to see that even this wonderful state of observing is also itself observable. When it happens that you are in the position whereby this wonderful state of being, of I amness, of presence, is itself observable. Some of you are already in line with what I'm speaking right now. Then what are you? Where are you? You see, what is it like? You see that the first bird is clearly a functioning of the mind, of identity, of, you may say, projections of ideas, desire, attachments. All of this is a very dynamic environment. The second bird is more relatively still, observing all of that. Relative to the first bird, second bird appears to be very silent and very still. But is the second bird also a function? Let's leave some space around this, what I've just said. Is the second bird, which is relatively a still place compared with the first bird in its activity, is this second bird, which is noticeable at some point, is it also a function? Yes. It is also functioning as weakness also. Then even this witnessing capacity is appearing in a deeper field of consciousness, which has no personal trait in it at all. In the morning, most of you, I hope it was like that, were listening to the invitation. The invitation is not telling you to go and do anything. It's simply pointing at some things which you're able to perceive and follow inwardly until at some point you realize that, but I'm just here. I'm not an object here. I'm not doing anything. I'm not thinking anything. I'm not becoming anything. There's no anger here, and there's no desire here. This is not a belief system. It's not a mood. It has no limitation. You intuitively and immediately know this. And I may ask you at this point, do you feel that you are lacking anything? Those of you who have listened to the invitation and embraced it as your guide or friend, did you feel at that point, oh wow, I really miss my apartment right now, or whatever? No, it is a sense of total contentment and completeness. So even oscillation has no meaning at all for you here. That's at a lower place, where the mind is still active and the sense of yourself, the idea you have of yourself, is still virile and active. But here, in your natural state, the most natural state, it is not concerned about that.
So if I find myself feeling, I found it again, it's also just watched and not giving attention.
We can be more specific than that. If you feel again, yes, I got it again, like this, okay, that is a feeling also appearing in the immensity of the self. It's just a feeling. The feeling may go. If you identify with a feeling, being a feeling, it is a phenomenon that come and go. If the feeling go, you may think, oh, it is gone. But that which is not merely a feeling. Feelings are felt in it or perceived in it. But nothing, including mood or feeling or anything, can represent what that is. There is no concept that can represent what that is. It simply is. It is the most natural, and what feels very difficult for us to grasp is that we are accustomed to evaluating things, to say how big they are and how much they feel like this and like that. You cannot apply that thinking to the self.
So it's like the beliefs I have accumulated of what enlightenment should be and how it
they can get in the way.
That's what I'm realizing.
And realizing that is good because it frees up more space. If we are simply pursuing a favorite idea, a concept of something, then you may miss it altogether because you're trying to find your idea of what you think it is, like that, including your idea of who you think you are.
I think I am also expecting something bigger than what will actually happen when I do find myself.
You know, amazingly, there is only the self.
Yes, these words sometimes.
Amazingly, all this talk and the searching for the self and the flying to Rishikesh and everything is the dance of the dynamic consciousness arising in the ever-present self that you are, the most natural. The self doesn't look like you. It doesn't look like your face. It doesn't look like you. It's not, it doesn't look like your form. It doesn't look like anything at all. It's not something that can be found and kept. Even the idea of the one finding it and keeping it and losing it are only ideas momentarily appearing in it and like clouds moving along, like all other things that you perceive. Now we say, okay, let me try and imagine that. Sometimes I think, yeah, I got it. Even that is not it. Then you go, oh no, then how am I going to find it? Even that feeling, that expression, that frustration is only momentary clouds passing in the infinite sky of your being and self. Is it a mystery? For who? For the one who is searching to fulfill their projection, it is. And it is so, I say it is obvious, but it is only obvious when it becomes obvious. No? Now people, oh no, what is he talking about? Then I say, yesterday we were speaking, one of our sisters had been to the Mahasamadhi of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj's Guruji in Mumbai. And she was also saying, but Guruji, I found that the master was saying that one of his favorite saying is 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1. You are saying 0, you have to be 0. Then I said, what does 0 mean? What is 0? And can you be 0? I'm going to be 0. No, it's not that. It's speaking to a deep intuition in yourself where you will transcend this field of conceptual thinking and so on. Because, and you will come to the place, and I hope, my intention, or hope, that's our intention, is that each one will come to recognize the obviousness of what I'm speaking, the simplicity of it. You see? But while we have a strong conviction of our personhood and believe in our thoughts and projections and so on, it is as though we block ourselves. No?
Yesterday someone told you how I cannot realize this simple thing, and you said a knife can cut so many things but cannot cut itself.
Yes.
Which made me understand that I cannot understand this thing cannot be understood with my mind anymore. And somehow also becomes, I don't know how to do that. You understand? I'm so used to just being in here and understanding with my mind.
Let's try something. Everything that you take to be yourself and your world is what you have conceived, what you think. Everything that you see is what you perceive. Everything you see, you can perceive with your eyes or through the senses or with the mind. Something is observing all these things. It even observes, even the sense of your bodily presence is also observed. It is not different from what I was speaking about just before. Everything you know, you experience everything, and they come and go. Even the idea you have of who you are keeps changing. It comes and goes.
Yes.
Everything is coming and going.
Yes.
Is there anything you know that has come and stayed?
No.
Right. That's already something good. Nothing that you have perceived has arrived and not changed. Everything that is available to the senses is a traffic flowing along.
Yes.
Everything is flowing along.
Even my beliefs also.
Even your beliefs, even the way you look.
Yes.
Even your look. When you looked when you were 5 years old in the mirror, you look, and then 10 years old is a different face. Something seems continuous, but everything, even this body is changing.
Yes.
Your thoughts are changing. Your feelings are changing.
Yes.
Your ideology changing. Sometimes your religion change.
Yes.
Everything is changing.
What I like, what I don't like.
What I like, what I don't like, who your I is, all of this is changing.
Yes.
What is witnessing those changes? The fact goes before the proof, no? The experiential proof. The fact is that they're all noticed. They're all perceivable. Everything going. Even the most precious thing is going. In front of what is it passing? What is noticing the comings and the goings of thoughts and feelings, of ideas, of intention, all of that they are perceived. What is it that is perceiving them? It's not a mental question. Just first, you acknowledge. It's true. Everything I thought, everything I believed, everything that I found, eureka! Somehow it's gone. It's an experience that's passed. That moment has passed. Time is passing. People are passing, coming and going. The traffic, including the ideas I have about myself and who I am, is also changing. So many persons have tried to be, and they're all passing. What observes all those passing is that passing.
Can it be that sensation, sometimes I feel like I am sitting in that place very effortlessly.
Yes.
And then sometimes
you
I
feel you're
like
sitting. Okay.
I get up off the chair and...
Listen, even you sitting in that place is passing. Because you hold on to the journeyer. You are going somewhere, you're finding sometimes I found even the absolute. And you say, and it went. Where can absolute go? It's you who, something caught your attention, you went to that, and it felt as though the thing is gone. How can that, if you have proven through your experience that it is infinite, where can the infinite go to escape from you? And who are you? We take ourselves presently, in our present conception of who we are, as a fact, whereas I know that to be a fiction. And I'm not different from you. And still, some fictional memories come sometime and they play about a little bit.
Yes.
But at a certain point, they don't have enough pull to engage such a strong identity with them. As long as the body is here, the breath, the vital force is here, and consciousness is here, the potential for thought activity and memory and projection will flare up now and again, but always in front of or within the immensity of that which is. Yesterday we spoke that maybe sometimes there may be a hidden fear of discovering who you are, because we are so attached to the idea we have of who we are presently. So by speaking about it like that, it gave each one a chance to check in, to say, yeah, I can see there's some fear.
Yes.
That if I finally discover that, then I might disappear.
Yeah, this one that feels like is sitting in the chair of the awareness will go.
But the one who is sitting in the chair of awareness is itself observed from awareness.
Identity.
We have given too much importance to a thought and a feeling.
Yes.
The present thought and feelings we have about life and ourselves, we have given too much importance to it. So now it feels like the fact, and when I speak about your true self, it feels like it's a fantasy. It's like, yeah, it must exist because I believe in Jesus or I believe in Lord Ram, and they accepted it, they found it, so it must be true. So I'm trying to get it also. So we have to come out of that ignorance in some way. And it's going to happen here now.
And also, it feels also every cell of my body goes towards it. Yes.
All the cells in your body exist in it. How can you go towards the infinite? Yet it is understandable from the present perspective that feels more true to say what you have just said. Soon, your perspective will change. And I can only encourage, it will not be a disappointing discovery. Oh my God, I found everything and I've lost everything. Oh my God, what am I going to do? This is why I say it is good that it takes time to acclimatize your mind and being to the truth of who you are, rather than a bang on the head and suddenly I'm a Buddha or something. You get used to it, acclimatize to it, see that actually instead of losing anything of value, you have only lost what is causing you trouble.
Exactly.
That's all. You cannot lose what is true.
And of course, from last year to this year, coming back to Rishikesh, I can see how much I've lost, and all of that stuff that I've lost has been great.
Can you lose the one who lose? Because actually one person, they were sitting at the feet of Sri Ramana Maharshi, and this man asked, "Sir, all this talk you're making is a little bit difficult for me. I feel my way is more surrendering. Surrender. I surrender everything. I surrender my work, my family, my possessions, I surrender everything." So Maharshi said to him, "You must also surrender the surrenderer also." How is that going to happen?
It feels like how you were when you were in front of Papaji.
Yes.
So I can throw myself. I feel I can.
My master told me also like that. You want to find God so that there's you and God. Look, I got him. Yes, I got him.
Yes.
Okay? So, it cannot be. It cannot be. So, first, to find the God, you must vanish. What? But if I vanish, who's going to find God? So to the logical mind, that is, what are you saying? And it brought up a lot of anger inside and frustration. Why is he talking like that? He's making fun of me. You see? Also, the story goes that one One Sufi, he was meditating, one Sufi saying meditating and meditating. And then suddenly he found in his meditation, he's at the very door of Allah. So, then he naturally felt to knock. And so he knocked, poop, poop, poop. So a voice inside says, "Who is it?" "It is I, my Lord." So the voice says, "Go away. There's no room for two in here." Rejected by God, oh my God. He goes back into his meditation, oh my God, very disturbed. And then he came quiet. He finds himself again at the door of Allah. Boom, boom, boom. So the voice says, "Who is it?" So he says, "It is you, my Lord." So the voice says, "Come in," like that. So I was telling this to some of the people, some of the students, and so when they knocked and said, "Who is it?" and the voice says, "It is you, my Lord," he says, "I don't believe you." In joke. Okay, so you cannot pretend. You must have come to that place. You see? Then perhaps there's not even any knocking. I told you yesterday, Rumi said also, he said, "I'm standing at the door knocking on the door, like, let me in, knocking. Suddenly the door opens and he realized, I've been knocking from inside." That's a beautiful metaphor, no? I'm knocking at the door. Why knocking at the door? To let me in. Because you imagine you are outside. Then only when the door opens, you realize, I'm inside. I'm already inside, knocking to go in, but I'm already in. This is the paradox of awakening. We are already here. But even being told that, we just enjoy, but we don't actually experience. Some will do. So what is in the way of that deep recognition that doesn't change again? What is in the way of it, you see?
Myself. And for me to vanish, I cannot do that.
Yes.
I cannot make
The Master
myself...
told me something I cannot do. The Master will tell you something you cannot do. He tell you something you cannot do. And frustration come. The mind, it came up to the surface, and that's what happened. Something vanished. I said later on when this thing happened, I could not find myself, meaning what? I could not find any reference for who I thought I was until now. I was looking at my hand for some reason, but there was nobody in them. Nobody in them. But who was looking? Yeah, not the person. It was not a personal looking. It was just my consciousness self looking. You see? We'll come back to this, okay? We'll come back to this.
So just one last thing.
Okay, let me hear.
Just for the last month, since I feel I cannot make myself vanish,
Yes.
I understand that only grace can do that.
Yeah.
So as, or God, so as...
Right now, you don't touch any more thought from one moment. You don't, okay, I'm trying to vanish, abracadabra, whatever. Nothing at all. Or, why can't I? No thought. Don't touch any thought at all, or any memory about anything. Just be totally empty. Just do it now. Okay? Because the words are not really working. They are working to show you that they cannot work. And at least, you see yes, at least to face the frustration of the inability of the mind, which is occupied by personhood, cannot do it. You see? Like that. Now I say something, because you're still here, you're still the one who is everything also, actually. I say into you, don't touch any of these things. Don't touch the mind at all. Don't touch mind or memory or any projection at all. Try and do it if you can. Anybody can do it. Don't get involved in, I want to do and I hope and one day. Leave all of that. Just be empty of it. Really empty. And this is truthful. You can be empty of it. There's a reflex, a tendency or habit to go back and pick up things. But right now, don't touch anything at all. So that when you are not engaged with your usual thought activities, like this, no? Nothing. Not even an assessment of who you are. Don't hold on to anything. And like I say, even the idea of what's next, don't touch. There's no next for you right now. You don't do. I ask you only so that if everything that was in your mind was taken out, everything, all the potential to think about this and that, and all your history and who you are and what you have done, good and bad, everything, delete from a boom. Okay? Are you not still here? Yeah. No history. I'm not interested in any history or memory for a moment. Be with this and tell me now. What is needed here? Just this. Be very honest about it. Be very honest about it. Whether you're sitting down or standing up makes no difference now. If you follow what I'm pointing, don't hold on to any thoughts for a moment. Yes, you may say later on they may come rushing in. You can deal with that later. But now, just be now. And this now is not something that exists on any clock. Just now. Don't engage with anything good or bad, or history, or anything to be proud or to be ashamed of, or anything about this world. Just be empty. Because that you can do, be empty. So no reference for anything at all. And give your full attention to this, what is here. Can it be described at all? Is it passing? No. And is there any fear here? Is there any successful person here? Or a failed one? What is this? No one gives any value to that. At best, we may call it peace. But it's more than peace. Peace is its perfume. Joy is its perfume. What is it? Just give this present to yourself. Don't hold on to any thought or intention or belief or categorization of self. Simply be empty for a moment. If everything can be taken out, is taken out, there remains something that cannot be taken out. You don't need to imagine, with what I'm speaking now, you don't need to imagine. It is too simple. You don't need to waste time imagining or visualizing. It will not, that's nothing at all. just sober looking being. Mind may come and say, but it's all right. It's nothing. But it's not a nothing with an attitude. Tell me from here, from this place, where is next and where is past. Do it. In fact, there's nothing for you to do, in fact. Just in your awareness field, pay a little attention to yourself. What is here? Now, many times, mind will come and say, yeah, it was fun, I've been there, and now I know how to go back there. No, reject all these things. You don't need any support from your mind at all. It may say, but how can I live like this? How can I live like this? Can this help to pay my rent? Can this, all these things your mind will do. Give a little time just to at least acknowledge that this space exists. Supported by what? What is supporting this? What is supporting this? Can it go? Can it leave? Is it limited? Are you merely imagining something? Or can you stand in the authority of your own seeing? No one gives any importance to this because we have been trained in life to pursue things, perishable things. So your imperishable self, you don't know. Even with this, paying attention to this, marinating in this, your attention. Does it need anything? Does it need any help? Does it need any friend? Just pay attention, give a little attention. You came here for this knowing. And it is already in you. You don't need to borrow it. You don't need to ask for it. I cannot give it to you. I can only help you to remove what you imagine is blocking that, so that you can experience this. Beyond duality, there's no you and this. This is you. The rest is your dream. And I want to tell you, I am not going to make some statue out of you and put it on the shelf. You are a living being also. You have a dynamic body, a living body, in order to perform and move in a living world. It's okay, you can do this, if you're a father, you're not going to change, stop being a father. No, all these things can be there, but they're all appearing in this which is unchanging. You must know the changeful and the unchanging. The changeful will always be changeful, and the unchanging will ever be. All that you see in the realm of changes is the traffic of phenomenality. It comes and goes. Watched from here. This is your timeless existence. This is the purity of the self. There is no other self than this self. This you may have heard in this country called Nirguna Brahman, meaning that complete, beyond which there is nothing. It alone shines and has caused this world and all universes to be. It is supporting all the life through the life force. It manifests as the dynamic consciousness. The dynamic consciousness is the child of this absoluteness. But for a while there is still doubt inside. But can this be it? Yes, yes. So it is only a question of how much space there is in you, how much there is in you the maturity to recognize the simplest. Maturity in spiritual language is when you are able to grasp the simplest, not the most complicated. Complicatedness is the mind. And you will see that in all things, knowing and being this, all things are flowing with a fresh intelligence, guided from an unshakable center, and this center is everywhere. I don't want to tell you too much about it, because if you are earnest, you will already have somehow, you can catch it, but it catch you, and that's it. My body is still here, your body is still here. In fact, your life will be imbued with much more love and much more spontaneity, much more openness, less fear, in fact, no fear, and joy. It seems too good to be true. I'm not asking you to believe, I'm asking you to see and to acknowledge and to confirm. Because this is the only knowledge you can not just have, but you are. When knowing and being are one. Standing there, you may still feel, okay, yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, that's a bit more clear. But it still be in this body, the consciousness which has adopted the sense of personhood as its location and support, saying, yes, this is, yeah, it's nice, I feel really good. The self is not a feel-good experience. It is beyond all. It is the most natural thing. It is not a philosophy. It does not exclude anyone. It is the true God Self. And fundamentally, essentially, this is what we are. It is not personal. It's not a personal discovery. It's a universal discovery that is taking place in this unit of consciousness that you may call yourself right now. That's it. Sometimes I say, it's really a question of how much time you think you need to be where you are. Because we have to work so much out. Yes, but my mind says this, I've got to do this. And we put so many things we think we have to sort out before you can reach. All this is mind. All that is Maya. There's nothing you need to do before you are. All imagined. But at the same time, it is God who creates this also, that appearing as the one inside the many, in each one searching according to your internal spiritual structure or something. If you are strongly identified with personhood, then you will find this world deeply, deeply attractive and repulsive also. Everything is the dance of this manifest consciousness. And gradually, the evolution of the human consciousness is an evolution back towards its source as pure. I'm using the word emptiness, but it's not a complete word. Purity, maybe. Purity, perfectness. But these are still concepts in the mind. I have to stretch it open so that as many can relate and receive what is being heard in a way that it can combust into spirit within you, rather than as information. Information alone will not. There are many people here who are very educated, you have read many things, you feel you've understood them, but you feel maybe lacking in the experience of this. But the true experience is not experience that will come and go. All states come and go. So this is not a state. Or you may call it the stateless state. Let's just take a few moments just to allow that some space inside you, like that. If you wish, you may sit. No? Thank you. One letter that comes. This one, it says, Namaste. I'm very afraid that when I find that being, that I really disappear. Again, I am very afraid that when I find the being, that I will disappear. All my tastes and passions, like playing football, my favorite food, etc. I like food. Anyhow, I am very afraid that when I find that being, I would really disappear. And it is a good statement, because it's very widely believed, and maybe a fear that has not been expressed. And if it remains hidden, this fear, no, it is also doing its work. It's delaying your seeing. It may even be quietly postponing the possibility of coming to ultimate recognition. The discovery of who you are and what you are is the most natural. There cannot be someone who awakens to the truth of who they are and decides, oh no, I don't want this. Oh no, can I have a refund? You're not going to have somebody. It has never happened, because it is discovering what you are, as opposed to who you take yourself to be. And who we take ourselves to be does not work. That's why we keep changing and changing. Versions and new versions of how to be-ness. So Joseph is saying, I'm very afraid that when I find that being, I will really disappear. And in bracket, all my tastes and passions, like playing football, my favorite food and all that. What does it mean to disappear? He's asking. Will I really cease to exist as what I am? No, you will cease to exist as what you're not. There's nothing you need to change to be what you truly are. But there's something that has to happen. That you will stop being what you are not. Playfully, it could have been playfully, just like children, they want to play, doctors and nurses and it's play. But everybody took it so seriously. It was meant to be with water, but we took it too seriously. I'm afraid that when I find the being, that I will really disappear. All my tastes and passions, like playing football, my favorite food. This is why it was important that there were living masters in the world all throughout human history. So that the fears that we have, we could see that the truth being embodied in a form was not showing, well, whoa, if that's what it's like to be awake, I don't fancy that. No, the people, they found the greatest role model for themselves. Say, whoa, this person is so compassionate, so kind, so loving, so wise. I need to be more like that. So it cannot be that the things you enjoy, who creates such a thought that the things you would enjoy, you enjoy playing football? No football here. What about tennis? No tennis, nothing at all. Food, only dal and rice, nothing else. How it can be like this? It cannot be like that. So Joseph's asking, what does it mean to disappear? When Papaji say, if you are to find the truth, you must vanish. You must vanish, okay? Of course, if you don't understand, it will bring some fear. Why? If I vanish, then who is to wake up? So what it really meant, actually, the one who you take yourself to be, but are not. When you awake from that dream, you simply are what you've always been. That's what it meant. But it was taken like, but if I disappear, me including all of my stuff, all of my stuffiness. But when you think of that, you know, all of me, I mean, all my taste, the things I enjoy. No, it doesn't mean like that. Why would God make all this beautiful planet, beautiful things, beautiful food, beautiful fruits and stuff, so to tell you can't have it? No. Darling, this is heaven. We don't do things like that. So this thing, let us dispel these ideas. In fact, you will enjoy perhaps even more, but not crave. Not crave. Enjoy without addiction, without attachment, without neediness. Because the person, mode of consciousness, suffered these. But joy is synonymous with yourself. So what does it mean to disappear? It means what you are not will disappear. What you are cannot disappear. It may have appeared to be hidden by the veil of ignorance, but this very ignorance is being removed. Will I really cease to exist as what I am? No, you're going to find out what you are. Presently, you are only imagining what you are. We are convinced of the identity, of the idea we have of who we are. And yet, every now and again, you're upgrading and changing like this. Of course, there is truth even in this. Supposing you in life have studied to do some wonderful things in your life. You enjoy art or whatever you're doing. Is that a lie? No. I mean, whatever you have been trained to do that brings you joy will continue, even better also. Yeah? But you will not be even attached to it. Because when you're attached, then comes pride. And pride is not necessary for true happiness. But will you take that risk? So what does it mean to disappear? I hope, Joseph, that you understand now what it means to disappear. I can use my own example, that Papaji had said, for you to discover the truth, you must vanish. I said, oh, what? That doesn't make sense. If I vanish, who is going to enjoy discovering truth? So, when that moment came, it was not expected, in fact, because I was still experiencing some rage. Like, just, it's a hot day. It was a hot day in Lucknow, hot day, but it was hot inside also too. And I just could not get out of the heat of my own internal feelings. And in 1 second, it was gone. Then what remained? What remained? If I disappeared, what remained? Something is here. I remain. Sri Ramana Maharshi says something. The I removes the I, yet remains the I. Again, the I removes I, yet remains I. The paradox of self-realization. What it means, the I am the natural name of consciousness, because everyone refer to themselves as I. I is your name, actually. The I removes the I, me person distortion, and again abides in its natural state. Can you relate to that at all? Am I speaking? I was going to say, am I speaking to myself? And I said, yes, I am. But myself is not cooperating very well in that area. Will I really cease to exist as what I am? This is his final closing words. Will I really cease to exist as what I am? First, we have to find out if when you say this statement, will I really cease to exist as what I am? This what I am that you presently take yourself to be is actually only partial. It is not your fullness. So therefore, some fear comes. If I disappear, then I will lose all the goodness in me? No, you will not lose. You will lose all that which creates doubt in you as to your true nature. That's what it means. Very good. Joseph. Let me try another one, and I'll try just one more for today. It says, dearest Guruji, I have a question. Saguna Brahman perceives the body and the mind and watches the mind's play. It also understands with real clarity that the person previously believed to be Sara is merely a collection of constantly changing concepts and is in no way a stable entity. However, it feels like Saguna Brahman is waiting to become Nirguna Brahman and wondering what it will feel like. I am aware, I'll explain these terms, Nirguna, Saguna, Brahman. I am aware that this language is very personal because there would have to be a person to feel something about it. Can you help with this conundrum? Bless you and thank you for the way you live out your beautiful presence on this earth for the benefit of so many. Love you, Sarah Booth. Okay, so I've been using a terminology recently of Brahman. Many people have a sense of Brahman, let's say pure awareness, the perfect reality. Can I say like this? The Brahman, the highest consciousness, the pure consciousness, no? But we use the term Nirgun Brahman, as the perfect, the very quintessence, the perfect consciousness, free from any distortion, free from the dance or the play of opposites. It is pure absoluteness. In fact, the invitation that is being played here each day is to introduce the mind to its root as this unchanging awareness, this Nirguna Brahman. When I was speaking to brother here just now, it is to point you to Nirguna Brahman. At present, it feels to be easier than to try and work through all the complexities of personhood in its journey towards the impersonal. To introduce the Nirgun, the perfect consciousness. It has rarely been spoken about like this, because in many traditions tell you, you must go in stages from person, journey towards presence, and absolute is some many lifetimes. And so. You have already spent a lot of lifetimes doing that. You don't have to accept my words about this one. So coming now, and so Nirgun Brahman, and then the other term I want to talk about now is Saguna Brahman, which is Brahman also, the pure consciousness when it manifests as diversity and all these diverse manifest worlds and everything, including the play of duality, of experience, the dance of opposites, diversity, the sense of you and me and life and death and heaven and hell and this and that and success and failure, all the things that create the richness for experiencing our existence and the existence on this planet, all of that, including for a time to believe and experience ourself and life on the basis of personal identity. A thing we must outgrow. We are constantly outgrowing different aspects of personality which we want to explore. Maybe one day you will outgrow personality altogether, meaning the identity of constantly feeling you're a thing, you're a person, you're this type and that type. One day you'll outgrow this thing. So again, the question that is being put by Sarah is Saguna Brahman, which is the diverse manifest Brahman, which manifests in different forms to be called Jehovah here, Allah here, Ishwara here, what are all the names, but fundamental is the same one. Just like we have water here, we call water in English, you call pani in another place, you call la in another place, you call agua in another place, but it's all the same one. The same one. There's only one. When it is not understood, human beings quarrel and fight about the different expression arising from the one. This is experienced in the Saguna experience. No? Saguna Brahman perceives the body and the mind and watches the mind play. That's when Saguna Brahman, when you have come from the state of personhood, now discovering the observing power in you, the second bird position, let's put it like this, no? It also understands with real clarity that the person previously believed to be Sarah is writing here, is merely a collection of constantly changing concepts and is in no way a stable entity. Can you agree with that? Sorry? Yes. That's okay. I'm just checking. Okay. So the person we take ourselves to be, it is not stable. Today you say, I love you, so tomorrow, we're like this. And we cannot control it. Forces are working because the consciousness is not stable here. It has become localized, personalized, and it becomes awkward and claustrophobic at some point. But because it is still consciousness, we have attachment to this limited form of consciousness. We don't even think it's limited also, because we have the capacity to dream, and we dream big. So we feel, oh, we can do all these things. So it also understands with real clarity that the person previously believed to be Sarah is merely a collection of constantly changing concepts and is in no way a stable entity. We agree. However, it feels like Saguna Brahman. When I'm in my Saguna Brahman, the highest I can come is that I am in this journey approaching the Godhead, approaching wanting to be one with God, or to be one with Christ or Lord Ram or Lord whatever is our favorite expression of God. So however it feels like Saguna Brahman, the diverse Brahman, is waiting to become Nirguna Brahman and wondering what it will feel like. But it cannot succeed. Of course, it's natural to wonder, you're going to go now to wherever, to Kailash. And before going there, we want to feel I wonder what it's like. But you cannot know until you get there. This is why in human culture we have gambling and betting. You're going to know anyway, but you want to know beforehand and you take a risk with it. So, like this. So in the Saguna Brahman, when you have the aspiration for liberation or to merge with God or to find the truth, you are thinking, I wonder what it's going to be like, and so on. And that might be good in that somehow it's whetting your appetite, developing a stronger attraction for your goal, maybe, no? So it feels like Saguna Brahman is waiting to become Nirguna Brahman and wondering what it will feel like. I'm aware that this language is very personal because there would have to be a person to feel something. Yes, yes. Then she continues now, can you help with this conundrum, you see? The whole of your life, your world, what you think and feel is appearing inside and in front of you. Everything. You are the witness. If you continue to confirm your position as the witness of everything that is arising like this, but you are not arising. Everything is arising, but you are not aroused. Then you are aware that in the place of the witnessing, it's not sucked into what it is noticing. It can notice everything, but it doesn't log into them. So it remains self-aware that it is witnessing. We got this? Just a little more time. We're closing down. You're going to have lunch very soon. We're going to do it. Okay? So this thing here, we are witnessing that all of this is in front of you. But now, by witnessing, sometimes I may ask you, can the witness be witnessed? Sometimes. For some people, it really bites this question. Can the observer, who is observing all things, including tangible, textual things, names and forms, also feelings and subtleties, can this observer itself be observed? Then something tries to, not going out, it turns around and see, can the observer be observed? If the observer can be observed, by what it will be observed? So some of you may have to leave and over lunch you ponder on this. Can the observer? Why this question? To see if the observer is a physical entity. because you will only be able to observe something that has quality. You follow or not? So is the observer a thing? Is it an object? Is it a spirit? What is it that is observing? And this answer cannot be outside you, it must be you. As we follow this, we are becoming more intimate, more unified with the source from where all perceiving and the very functioning of perception arises from here. You will come gradually into your own nature. One of the greatest things you can do is to begin by observing your own being. For this, what I started to do today was asking you, leave this, leave all those things, and pay attention to what remains by itself. This is a tremendous power. Because normally we are hemorrhaging energy, projecting them into perishable phenomena. But when your attention is dwelling on the indwelling principle, that is the more, it may seem to be the least dynamic, but it is the most potent. So here, can you help me with this conundrum? Bless you and thank you for the way you live and so on. So that is helping with the conundrum. Rather than wondering what's it like to be Nirguna, which itself is a thought appearing in Saguna, itself appearing in Nirguna. But just to be told that by itself is not enough, because of the habit of thinking that when we have understood something, we know it. We have a tendency to feel that when you have grasped something through the mind or intellectually, it amounts to knowledge. In the same way that many people, just by hearing something, any kind of foolishness, believe it. Or because they read something in the newspapers, it's exactly what happened. So you don't do your own internal work. As you begin to deepen in your own natural focus, a wisdom is present in you. And it would not be easy to delude you once you are established in your own center. What we have shared today, I have not spoken with many people, but it is enough. I've spoken with everyone. If you have the mind to look. We must come to know the difference between your mind and yourself. When you do, the mind will join you. When you don't, the mind will oppose you. It will be your friend and enemy. And it is important, it's an important relationship given by Paramatman so that you strengthen your powers of discernment. That we must do. You cannot just lie down and expect, God to peel you a banana and to chew it for you. We have to somehow be active in our own liberation, but not in a sweaty way, but simply looking, and it is a joy, is it not? A joy to be experiencing your liberation. You see? If there is not a joy, it's only because too much importance is being put on holding your person, because the person brings in fear. It is the personal mind that is so susceptible to the voice of Maya Shakti. It's always afraid. What will happen if I vanish? Then, I'm going to lose all the things I enjoy? Would that not be a cruel life? Why would it be said to be the highest life when all your fun is gone? And God says, give me all your sweeties and go in that room and be perfect. No. So it cannot be that when the very source of joy is the self. The very source of peace is the self. It's not the mind. The mind can only reflect. The heart shines with this understanding, this wisdom. So something must happen because of these talks, some opening that allows the self to reveal itself. Otherwise, our conditioned identity is somehow saying, just hold on a minute. It wants to prove it mentally or something. So, perhaps enough for today. And look right now. I don't mean by using your head to look, but just in your being itself. Just scan your being. And feel your spiritual environment. Is it noisy? Or is it peaceful? Is it empty? This is going to be more important than using your mind to try and figure anything out. Pay attention to your own being. Right now you do. Don't touch the sense even of otherness or even of I. Don't hold on to anything at all, not even I, which is the highest of concepts. Don't hold to anything at all. And simply observe with your intuition what is here. Are you a container for concepts and feelings? Or are you more like a space, moving about in space? And yet, you know naturally you are. Do you need all this information, all these stories, all this past to be what you are? Are you merely the outcome of collected concepts and feelings and memories? Or can you allow these memories, all these feelings, to simply move in their natural way, in the stillness, in the immensity of being? Can that which is be lost? Can that which is beyond phenomenal representation, can that be lost? Can it be possessed? Can it be sick? Don't give all these things to your mind. And you'll begin to experience knowing, more subtle than knowledge, your knowingness. This silence is not outside of you. Even if it fills the universe, it is not outside of you. You beyond you. You without you. You minus you. thank you for today. Thank you. Before, for thousands of years, human beings have come, met, gathered in different places, by rivers, in valleys, in mountains, in forests, drawn by some deep urge within themselves to discover the source of all of this. All of this. And many found. They left their bodies and merged in their own true nature. You don't have to leave your body to recognize yourself. In fact, to even wake up to the truth of yourself is the best health you can experience. they found many. Now it is our turn. We are the fresh wave of the human experience. It's our turn, our chance to look into the same deep introspection to find what is it all about? Who am I? Who am I? And Paramatman, the Supreme Lord of the universe, manifests in so many diverse ways that human beings can approach in search of the truth of themselves. In every religion, every discipline, every spiritual path is open to each one. May it be so that those here in whose heart is beating this urge for freedom, that you find that, put an end to this erratic mind, the distortion of truth, and find the timeless being, and be timelessly happy and free. Remember, it is for this reason we are gathered today here in Rishikesh. Because also Rishikesh has been one of these places where beings have been gathering for centuries and centuries. I don't know if we were among them, I don't know. But it is available. It is available because it was never lost. It only appeared hidden. And now is a chance to unveil that which is. It cannot be perfected because it is ever perfect. It cannot be lost because it is infinite. But we must overcome this tendency, this season of delusions where we believe ourselves to be merely our body. The body is very important also. It plays a huge part in the awakening. The senses are not a sin. The world is not our enemy. Everything is a dance of this, which is called the lila of God. But each one must find their way back to themselves, which is the God principle inside each one. And it gives me great joy to share that it is not distant or difficult. The difficulty is only as is perceived through the mind. Because as I've said over and over again, the truth is plain and simple, but the seeker of truth is complex because of this deep conditioning in phenomenality. But don't be thinking, oh, it's so hard. So it is not hard. It is yourself. It is without distance. And this is the great mystery. As Rumi said, and I shared with you, he said, I've been knocking at the door. Suddenly it opens. I have been knocking from inside. I'm already what I am, imagining myself to be apart from what I am. But this one who is imagining itself to be apart from what it really is itself the dream of the self. This mystery, this paradox, we must become clear about. And it's already taking place. It's a play of God's love and wisdom. Thank you. Thank you, Ajahn.